On to the conversation of the day, a global report on physical activity released by the World Health Organization. If you can have those graphics on screen, in 2018 that is revealed that Kenyans are actually the most unfit and unhealthy in East Africa. Now, on the other hand, our neighbors, Uganda, only had like 5.5% of its citizens who are not active enough, which is the smallest number in any country in the world. Now, it mentioned that 15.4% of Kenyan adults are not as active as recommended by the WHO. Now, get this, the recommended level of activity is actually 150 minutes of moderate or 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity per week. Question is, what are you doing about it? Now, this largely explains why Kenya is increasingly facing the burden of non-communicable diseases, which include diabetes, cancers, cardiovascular diseases, and of course, chronic respiratory infections. Shekeshi is the head of broadcasting here at NTV, and of course you're the founder and CEO of Emperor Fitness Limited. Now, the reason why we're doing this today is because we've looked at how our lifestyles, as I talked about the graphics earlier on, the statistics, is the fact that we are living a very sedentary life, and that is actually causing so many non-communicable diseases to actually affect us directly. So, as the Nation Media Group, to be specific, NTV, we're actually bringing something to you that is called Tizi Mtaani. Let me catch my breath. TZ Mtaani. And of course, this is something that says we are bringing the exercise, the fitness to your doorstep, so you have no excuses whatsoever. And to help us understand more about what TZ Mtaani and what this initiative is about and why it's come around, of course, as I mentioned, Monica Washeke, who is the head of broadcasting. Monica, why TZ Mtaani?
I think, excuse me, I think, Gladys, as you've just mentioned, we're living very sedentary lives. But something exciting is happening with our audiences and with Kenyans in general. They are seeking opportunities to be more and more fitter. They are looking for things to do that then take away that sedentary life from them. So when we looked at it as NTV, we thought, you know what? We just don't want you to watch our programs. We also want to facilitate change in your life, if that's what you're looking for. And instead of us just saying all the time, no, find us where we are, what we want to do is to come where you are. And that's why we're looking for partnerships with people like Peter. And he'll tell us what he does after he's making us, all of us trying to catch our breath. But essentially, it's for NTV to then facilitate Kenyans in achieving a lifestyle and a wellness that comes about with moving. So whether that moving is dance, whether it's catterbox, like he'll explain, whether that moving is walking around the estate, what we are saying is then every 2 weeks a month, we shall come to where you are with what we are calling NTV, TZ Mtaani.
Okay, and why Nairobi?
I think that's where we are starting. We don't want to look like we're Nairobi-centric, but what we've done is to look at where we can start immediately. And like I said, it's supposed to be bi-monthly. So every other week, we shall then find a place to go. But what we want is also our audiences to tell us, do they want us to come to them? When they tell us to come to them, then we're like, okay, let's find a place where we can come on a Saturday morning, spend the morning. And it's not just about moving. What we are then doing is coming with health experts. We've partnered with people who will check people's blood pressure, people who look at your nutrition. So they'll give you a bit more information than just about moving around. And because what we're trying to do is to develop a Kenyan who's a wholesome being. And it doesn't matter where this Kenyan is. So it might be Nairobi next week on the 29th, but after that, we could be in Eldoret, we could be in Kisumu. But not just that, I think you know very well, like this weekend, we're participating with the county government in Meru in an event that's also about wellness and fitness. So it's just looking at the totality of the Kenyan and how we can facilitate their lifestyle. Because this, when you walk around, you find a lot of people in the morning at 5 exercising. Some people are like, but I don't have time. What can I do? So how do we help them to understand what they can do so that they can become active and they can reduce, that statistic is scary about how sedentary we are. But there's such simple things you can do. But sometimes people don't have the knowledge. And that's why we exist as a broadcaster, to facilitate their understanding and to make it easier for them, not only to watch us, but also to change their lifestyles when they deem fit.
Exactly. Now, Peter, you've just walked us through a workout. What is that called?
It's called catterbox.
What is it exactly?
It's a mixture of, it's actually martial arts. So all through it entails a lot of punching and it's like a fight. But now you're doing it in a rhythmic manner using music and posing it very sequentially, slow in beats. You introduce in terms of blocks, and they become quite effective in terms of now people who can't train martial arts can actually get a feel of martial arts through that kind of a class.
Okay, so now I know when we're doing the TZ Mtaani initiative, you have catterbox, you've got aerobics, and you've got Zumba.
Yes.
Why those three and not any other?
The reason as to why I chose to work with those 3 brands first is the popularity right now. Most of the times people, actually catterbox is not so much well known. People know Taibou. Taibou is very popular for those guys who are very active in gyms. But Taibou and catterbox are similarly the same. The only difference is that now catterbox builds up more blocks than Taibou. So it's just an add-on. When it comes to Zumba, Zumba is popular. People love dancing, you know, especially Kenyans. I believe Kenyans really just love dancing. That's why it's Zumba. Then now there's also an introduction of something called Afrobeats, which is more African. We don't have any music, just drum. So someone just drumming and just singing and dancing along the tunes.
As you do the aerobics?
As you play the aerobics, yes.
Oh, excellent.
Quite also physically engaging and also a very nice way to burn calories, just having fun. Yes.
I think it's a good way to actually incentivize our audience to actually be part and parcel of this. Now, of course, even as we talk about this, Monica, this is a journey you have walked. You are literally walking the talk. If we can have those pictures, Monica wasn't always looking like this. I've known her many years. And you took up fitness as a personal goal, and you've come a long way. What actually took you down that journey?
I think you go through life thinking you're fine. Your weight keeps going up, but you're fine. You can find clothes to wear. So if you get a size bigger, you'll get a bigger thing to wear. But then you can't go upstairs without losing your breath.
Okay, yeah, that's Monica before and after. So she's really
sometimes I don't know me. I don't know me sometimes.
Wow.
So when she's talking about the importance of inculcating this culture, she's walking the talk.
Yes, so that's what. So you grow and you're adding weight all the time. You can't go upstairs. You can't play with your kids as you want to. Sometimes you go into public and you're feeling like everybody's looking at you. It hits your self-confidence. But even more, you start realizing there are diseases you're getting that are not necessarily because of something that you can't control. It's because of something you need to control. And so then you reach a place and you start wondering, because sometimes you start giving yourself excuses. Oh, the gym is too expensive. And that's why I like what Peter is doing because of Afrobeats and Chatterbox. You don't really need to pay for an expensive gym. You have music and you can move around. However, you then start wondering, how can I help myself? And so you start looking around and you start finding things you can do. And those are the things we want, so that it's not just about Monica. But those are the things we want to be able to tell our audience. You know what? It's possible. But you stick with it. You have to keep doing it. And you have to start knowing your why. It was great to listen to the show earlier for them talking about what's your why, what's your purpose, why do you want to lose the weight? Because if it's just about I need to lose kilos, then one day you stand on the weighing scale and it hasn't lost any kilos, you're like, why should I continue this very terrible journey? But it's also about making it a lifestyle. And that's why for us NTV Mtaani is so important. Because what we are trying then to do with our audience is to make it a lifestyle. Yes, we'll come to your mtaa twice a month. However, what we are leaving you with is what you can do every day of the week that can facilitate your health, your fitness, and your wellness. And you know, they say when you're happy with your lifestyle, then you're a better person. It also goes into your life. You're able to do things very differently. So what we want to do is to tell people, it's nice to look at the photos of Monica and see what she was and what she is. So it's not strange. It's not like it can't be done.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Okay. Now, Peter, we are living at a time where, as she was saying, excuses, I don't have time to go to the gym, or I'm a mother, mothers look a certain way, it's hard to lose the weight and all that. What are the excuses that you've been dealing with and some of the struggles of the people who walk through your doors?
The major issues is actually, like you said, family and work. Those are the two main major reasons that people usually always want to use. Another one that is cropping up most of the times that is also as a result of the sedentary lifestyle is now the illnesses. You have knee issues, you have back problems, and so many other medical issues. But one of the key issue in terms of fitness, and rather we should not even use the word fitness, we just use the word physical activeness. So long as you're being physically active, I think that's the motive. Number two, purpose to eat well. If 80% of your diet, if it's good, 20% of your workout will make sure that you look like Monica. You get? But the problem is sometimes we cheat. I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna hit it very hard. Then unfortunately after the session I'm gonna go chill somewhere, I'm gonna have a burger, I'm gonna have a soda, then I'm gonna put it maybe another glass of wine or something. So at the end of the day, you went to the gym, you burnt 2,000 calories. One sitting, you have into 6,000 calories. So you're already at a deficit of 4,000 calories. Then also, in terms of the excuses that people come up with, I think there are so many ways to overcome those excuses. For example, when I came to this building, I used an elevator, a lift rather. There are staircase. Why not use the staircase? You know, when you're going to shopping, most of us who live in estates, you have a shop inside the estate. Would rather not walk. We still get into the car, start the car, drive all the way to the shopping, then come back home. So those are just mere excuses. If someone is really if you really want it badly, you're gonna make time for it. Yes.
Okay, now Monica, he touches on diet, and I think that is the end of many people. There's been so many things that have been floated out there. We've heard of intermittent fasting. It seems to work for others it doesn't work. What is that, and have you tried it?
Yeah. So I say I've tried everything. I've been on this fitness journey and weight loss journey for about 8 years. In those 8 years, I've lost about 40 kilos. So I'm less 40 kilos.
Big number.
That's
huge. A big number.
In those 8 years, I've almost tried everything under the sun. But I keep saying there are things that are good for the long term and some are good for the short term. Does intermittent fasting work? I think it does. But like he says, everything is about calories. So even if you do your intermittent fasting and you open your fast at 1 and all the calories that you hadn't eaten between breakfast and 1 p.m., you eat them again, there's a problem in that. It's not necessarily about saying don't eat carbs, don't take sugar. It's the amount that you take. Everything in regards to food is about the amount that you take. And so what has happened with me a long time, I've done the intermittent fasting, I've done crazy diets. The problem with them, they can't last long because you can't do them every single day of your life. And when you stop, the weight comes back in a second.
Wow.
What has then happened is in my last 3 years, I've been very fitness activity, physical activity based. So I did a lot of dieting, probably the first 4 years. But what also dieting doesn't do, it doesn't firm you up. So you lose the weight and you're still feeling wobbly, and you don't lose the inches as you would like. So what has happened is then after that, I then got into physical activity. And what physical has taught me is even better discipline. While dieting teaches you hardcore discipline, because dieting is hardcore. I mean, you find someone who's doing 600 calories a day. 600 calories a day is literally 3 apples a day and nothing else. So you're just taking that and you're taking water. It's not sustainable.
It's not.
Because the body also needs energy. So what then has happened after that is to combine eating and working out, physical activity. You know, sometimes when we say working out, everybody just thinks the gym. No, it's walking around your hood. It's taking the stairs, like he said. It's when you sit at your desk at work, you then make sure you take breaks where you walk to a colleague's desk or you just walk up and down, because that's counted as physical activity. And so for me, I think the thing that works is to figure out what works for you, because what works for Monica may not work for Gladys, may not work for Peter. In fact, with men, it's worse because men lose their weight in seconds. Like
they are helped out
like
by the testosterone,
like they could breathe out and lose the weight. So imagine Peter and I trying a weight loss program, and he's losing kilos in just big numbers, and I'm only losing like half a kilo every week. And I'm thinking, there's something wrong with me. It's not that. Also, the composition of women and the composition of men is very different. And that's why, bringing it back to NTVT's Mtaani, we will have specialists on the ground who then help you understand those kind of things. They help you understand what kind of nutrition do you need for yourself, for your body shape. What kind of exercise can you do if you have some money and you want to pay for a gym? What should you do? If you don't have some money, how can you still achieve that? And also on the day, we've partnered with Let's Cook, a Facebook group that does a lot of food things, and they'll also be on ground. So you'll also be able to see what does a healthy meal look like. You know, sometimes you say you're eating healthy and then you load your plate with a salad and then you put a dressing, you put mayo and all those things. So we'll have people on the ground who help you with that. And for us, it's again, like I said, it's to facilitate our audience and Kenyans at large to be able to understand things that they don't necessarily know about this whole wellness and fitness and lifestyle change. Because the thing is, if it's just a one-off, then it's not sustainable.
True, Peter, definitely this is a lifestyle change. And one thing that we are battling with, I think across generations and across the world, is our eating habits. We're talking about the meats, the alcohol levels, the sedentary life now makes it even worse. Those have always been obstacles for many people, especially men. Okay, what would be your advice going forward?
Actually, before I even go to that, I wanted to comment on what she said, that, that men tend to lose weight faster.
Because?
But unfortunately, men are not more disciplined than women. In a real life, and of course I'm a guy, and I stand to represent men as well. But on a real life scenario, if you walk into a gym, I can tell you for free, 70 to 80% of those you'll find in the gym are females. So men lack that much discipline. In wealth, women are more sensitive or conscious on how they look.
Yes.
Men, if I have a big tummy, it's my wealth. It's my
Yeah.
money. If a woman has that, it becomes a problem. As in, you know, you get quite uncomfortable. But on that issue of the eating and the drinking habits, one of the key things I always tell my clients is be real. Like she said, do a sustainable program that works for you.
Yeah.
Do I enjoy a glass of wine? Of course I do. The only thing you need to understand is even if I take the glass of wine, when can I take the glass of wine? How much of it can I take? It's an issue of portions. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to deny yourself all these good things, and you're working a lot anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. But if you regulate them, if you have them in small bits, small portions, maybe have a glass of wine once a week. It won't do you any harm. At least even the ages of Moi and the like, they're always having a glass of wine, and they have lived 100+ years. So
But not 2 bottles.
yeah, not 2 bottles, just a glass. I said a glass. I said a glass.
Okay, now, Monica, somebody could be looking at you. You're a corporate executive and wondering, how do you even get the time to inculcate such a discipline into your everyday life?
I think, like I said earlier, what's your why? My first why was a dress I saw on the high street when I was doing my master's in London, and I wanted to wear the dress. So when I went into the shop and asked for my size, it looked like a dira. You know, that it looked like something I was just going, it had no shape, because I had no shape. And so that's what triggered. There has to be a why. If there's no why, then you're just doing it and you'll never, it's a purpose. It's not just about weight loss. It's about everything you do. What's your purpose? And when I discovered my why at the beginning, I then bought the dress I wanted to fit into, and I hung it next to me. And every time I would see it.
Look at it.
Every time I'd wake up, I'd see it. Every time I'd walk into my bedroom, I would see it. Now, that dress, I have slammed it down so many times.
Yeah.
Last year in December, as I was cleaning my closet, I finally let go of it because now it's lost shape in the
Because you're
like that. So it's about finding your why, and your why cannot be. And I keep saying, this journey is such a personal one, because there's a lot of dependence on, oh, let's go to the gym together. What are we eating today? While that is good, it is about yourself. It's about the things that you want to achieve as an individual, so that even if Peter is not there, then you shall do it. And so finding time, you create time. You know, they say all of us have 24 hours. So for example, and that's why I'm saying this thing called NTV Mtaani is actually a reaction to what we are seeing Kenyans do. If you come to the city at 5 in the morning, there are a couple of gyms around Nation Center. It's packed. There are people who leave their houses at 4:30 and come to the gym. If you were to just drive in the morning as you come to work, you'll see people running across the city, whether it's in Nairobi or in other places where they stay. If you go to the estates on Saturday mornings, you'll find people. So people are already realizing that they need to do this. So what we are then trying to do as a broadcaster is to give them more information, is to go to them and show them what they can do, is to go to them and also encourage them and say, you know what, it's doable, keep at it. And when they do that, then they'll create the time. So you create the time, and then everybody has to know this journey is personal. So if I tell you I can't meet you because I'm going to the gym, don't catch feelings, because me, this is what I am dealing with.
Yes.
And when you make it a habit, then people around you start understanding. My boys will always ask me on a Saturday morning, Mama, today are you going to the gym? They know to plan their day with their mother having planned for them much earlier that the gym is important for them. I will then look at my calendar and my meetings, and if I know I can't make the week, so I work out 3 to 4 times a week as a must. So when I plan my week on Sunday, then I'm like, okay, is Monday possible? No, I have a 7 a.m. What time will I work out? I have to be out by 6 so that I can do my 1.5 hour workout. If it is eating, I carry my food with me. If I go for a meeting, I'll then look at what options are on the menu that facilitate my lifestyle.
Okay, and Peter, definitely there's a lot of myths when it comes to losing weight, keeping fit. For example, they say if you eat so close to bedtime, you'll gain weight. For some it works, for some it doesn't work, okay? And then there's also the fact that you're supposed to eat lighter meals towards the end of the day. Again, it's a personalized journey, but there's some it works, it doesn't work. So from your experience, what's your advice?
Why it doesn't work or why it works for others, we have 3 body types. And this is what most people are not aware of. We have an ectomorph, endomorph, and a mesomorph.
Okay, what are those?
So if you understand, for example, I'm more of an endomorph. There are those people who are small, just small. No matter, even if you cook oil and just pour it on them, they will never add weight. As in, it's very hard for their body to retain weight.
So that's endomorph.
That's endo. Then we have another group of ectors. No, those are ectors. Endos are the ones who become big very fast. Like I can sniff weight, just sniff mandazi and.
That's me if I sniff a mandazi.
Then you have mesomorphs. Mesomorphs are just bulky guys who have big shoulders, big body. They don't necessarily even need to eat a lot, but they just have a big body. So if you understand which group, which body type you belong into, you will understand that a particular program, eating program, or a particular weight program will not work for you. Because an ecto has a program for them to add or lose weight. An endomorph the same, a mesomorph the same. So if you get to understand, the first question, even when you go to the gym, the first question you should even ask your trainer is, how can I get to understand which type of body type am I? So if you get to answer that question, it becomes easy now to say, my fitness journey or my journey is to add weight. For example, I have a problem adding weight. I was telling her, funny enough, she's losing, I'm planning to
If
add.
only you could transfer
If
it.
only she could transfer it to me,
Yeah.
it would work for me. So I guess that's what makes some of these things not work for everyone. And like she said, it's very personal.
Yeah.
So understand those 3 basics, understand your body type. From there, understand your body.
Okay, now we just had the WHO recommends the level of activity to be 150 minutes moderate or 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity per week. Per day, what's your recommendation?
But it depends. Why I don't want to specifically give a time frame is because in the morning, you can have 10 minutes. You can do something in those 10 minutes. In the course of the day, in the afternoon, you can have maybe another 5-10 minutes. You can still do something. It doesn't mean that if you cannot have 30 minutes in a day to work out, that you can't work out. No, you can. Do what you can in the morning. Just make sure that it counts. In the afternoon, if you get another 5 minutes, make sure it counts. If you're working in an office where you have an 8-story building and you're from your lunch, just walk up and down. You know, in the evening, if it's somewhere you can walk to Bodam a tree, or it's a distance where you can go shop by walking to and fro, don't take an Uber. Just walk. So it doesn't have to be done at the same time. You can actually do it in groups.
Okay, so Monica, even as we finish this conversation, Tizzy Mtahani starts at Nyayo Estate this Saturday. Which other estates are on your radar going forward?
So we're starting with Nyayo Estate on the 29th of February. So that's next week on Saturday. And what we would like to do, because this is about our audience, this is about Kenyans, this is about people who love us and watch us across the day. What we would like to do is to ask them where they want us to come. If you would like us to come to your mtaa, just send us a tweet, send us a message on our social media platforms, which are always on air. There's an SMS line also on air. Send us a message. So while we may have our own plan, you see, we may get such high demand to go to Buruburu, and why not? We may get even higher demand to go to Kisumu, why not? So while we have our plan internally, we wouldn't like it to prejudice our audience. For us, this is about them. This is about things they are doing that we feel we need to participate in, and we need to facilitate a better understanding. So we are very excited to start with Nyayo Estate, because the way it is set up, it has so many things you can do from an activity point of view, whatever time of the day and whatever gender you are, even for children. Because a lot of times we also just think exercise is for us. Kids enjoy these things. So we are saying, on Saturday, we'll be in Nyayo Estate from early morning, which is at about 7 in the morning.
Yes.
After that, we will then come to another mtaa within 2 weeks. Is it your mtaa? It could be your mtaa. If you text us, if you send us a tweet, if you send us a Facebook message, it could be your mtaa.
But Monica, some guys are even already asking on Twitter, are you charging for this thing?
There's a charge, a very minimal charge of 200 shillings. So we're not trying to make this for people not to be able to come. It's only a minimal charge of 200 shillings. And there's a number, our posters have numbers where you can send a message to confirm your attendance and to ask any questions also on all our platforms. But for us, we're excited. We can't wait for our audiences to come and join us.
Okay, and Peter, how long will it take per session?
It's a 3-hour challenge, but we're breaking each session for 45 minutes, then a 15 minutes breather. So we're starting from 7 to 10. The crew I'm coming with, trust you me, there's going to be a lot of energy and a lot of fun activities anyway. So Afrobeats will be in the house with Kathy. We're going to have Simon with his crew, Fitty Dance, then now Chatterbox, me and my crew as well. So it's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of... If it's going to be an in-house, I think we're going to bring that roof down. Yeah. So yes.
Peter Murathi, Emperor Fitness, and of course Monica Wesheke, who is the head of broadcasting here at NTV. Tizzy Mtani is coming to you. Remember, if you want your mtaa to be part of this fitness journey with us, write to us, reach out to us. Would like to inculcate this in each and every person who actually consumes NTV. So even as we say goodbye, okay, my name is Gladys Gashanja. Let me go back to exercising. This is my dose for the week.